Two, one, we're away. Okay, good stuff. So, welcome everybody to LinkedIn for Breakfast. Wonderful to have you all here. Just as we're letting the room filter in, we're asking a few people to put into the chat before we started what it is about a LinkedIn profile that they find challenging. And so, a lot of this is around promotion and getting the right message across and actually keeping your profile up to date and fresh. So, those kind of concepts and ideas we're certainly going to be going through today, and I'm excited to do so with you all. So here's the game plan, right? We're going to throw some ideas at you, and then we're going to open it up to some discussion and conversation. And I'm going to, as I mentioned to people just before we hit record, I've got a slightly different angle that I normally approach because I want you to think slightly differently about your profile. Right. So let's just share screens and just give you the agenda to start off with. Oh, here we go. And we'll get started. Okay, so LinkedIn profiles when this decides to actually go into presentation mode. Thank you very much. Um, oh, hello, there you go. Click too many buttons at once. I'm getting excited. So just before we always start, I'd like to just try to portray the mission. If anybody hadn't seen us or come to these before, our mission at LinkedIn for Breakfast is to make this literally the world's best place on earth for free that you can come to learn about brand expansion and also business development. So how can you get more leads from LinkedIn and how can you raise your profile on LinkedIn? And we want to do that in a really supportive, immersive environment for everybody. And to help, we've also got this wonderful community called LinkedIn for Breakfast, which we have been working through, growing, constantly improving, adding more to the classroom. And actually, Flora, if you could just put the link into it for me, now would be great. But there's a couple of things I just wanted to show to you guys. This is linked to breakfast, and there's a great classroom in here that you can go get different courses that we've got within here for free. You can check out our calendar of what we're doing. You can network with other members. So really cool community. But we launched yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw it. Based upon feedback we got last week from you all, that we used to run this pod where we'd all go and like and comment and share on each other's posts on Tuesday, but we actually created two pods based upon feedback, and we've been doing pods for ages. So this is a relatively big change for us, and we put together a pod that was specifically for people who are targeting business to corporate, and this is the B2 Corp pod here. And so you can see in here that we've got our posts in here, and people are commenting and liking and sharing stuff on here. So these are all people who are targeting corporate clients. And then we've also got business to consumer slash business to small business. And again, this is a nice pod in here for people who are targeting those type of businesses. And the reason why we do that is because it means that if you're liking and sharing someone's content who is also talking to a small business audience, then their audience and your audience are going to be the right audience. And so your content will have a better boost into the right direction. Whereas if you're saying to corporate and you're liking someone who's a personal trainer who's selling to individuals, it hasn't got the same multiplier effect. So that's what we do within that pod there. So I just wanted to spend a little bit of time just explaining that to you guys and seeing how that develops over time. So please do get involved in that because it's a great way to network with others and also get your content shared and engaged upon. And if anybody wants to know when we do it, we have on the calendar here, we do it on a Tuesday at midday UK time. There you go. And it's in the diary there. You can actually add it to your calendar. You can have a recurring appointment. It's a 2 hour slot, but we just say to you, spend half an hour, do 15 minutes liking and commenting, post your content, 15 minutes liking content, commenting after your content, and that will help the LinkedIn algorithm even more so. So I hope that helps. And if anybody's not quite sure what I mean by pods, in the classroom, there's a whole training on how to do a pod. Right. So let's get back into today's subject. So LinkedIn profiles. Now, one thing that I wanted to really kind of point out with LinkedIn profiles and an observation that I have made through doing this for bloody ages is in the old world, we were incredibly fascinated with websites. I grew a website company up to 28 staff, well over 1 million revenue, sold it, and the business ultimately went on to float on the NASDAQ. That was my big kind of sort of post apprentice was band, growth model. That was the first business that we ran. So we were well into websites. We're into websites. We're into SEO, conversion rate optimization, trying to get people on your website, get them to convert. Now, in this kind of post-COVID world, social, working, with individuals, a lot more kind of flexi working type scenarios, we have moved from this website world to more of a social media based world. And it's always been transitioning. It's getting more and more and more important that your social media profile is the primary place people will go and find you. If someone goes and meets you at a networking event, they might go and check your LinkedIn profile out rather than actually going to your website, as opposed to the other way around. And it's not just kind of me having that vibe. Actually, when you're looking at my clients' views on their websites through Google Analytics versus their views on their LinkedIn profile, they will have a bias towards more views on your social media. And so I think this is a really interesting trend, particularly in small business market. Regardless if you're selling into corporates or not, it's this our market, our kind of smaller business market. You'll find that the website is important to have a website, but it's not now the lead generator it was. Now your profile is. So if we're going to approach this in the right way, we've got to really kind of think about your LinkedIn profile as a landing page. So on the left-hand side here, you've got a kind of classic landing page template, the sort of stuff that we used to churn out every day for clients, kind of conversations about benefits, links to content, and also a sign up form. And actually, you can approach your LinkedIn profile in very much the same way if you get it right. And we want to try and help you to really think about your LinkedIn profile like a landing page. And one of the things that I'd love you guys to do is actually go onto your LinkedIn profile and think about these analytics here. Because if you look at this, in the last 7 days, my content's had nearly 5,000 impressions, right? So people have kind of seen it, right? The profile views has had over, 1,000 of people looking at my profile. If you equate that to say website traffic, that's going to be, nearly 4,500 people in a month that are going to my website. This is just in the last 7 days, by the way. This is what those statistics are. And so when you think about that, actually, does your website get over 4,000 people? Like, do you actually, it is now are you getting more traffic on your LinkedIn profile? And what can you do to optimize that traffic? Like search engine optimization we do for a website, but are we doing profile optimization to get more people looking at this new social media landing page that you own and are trying to optimize? So really important mindset shift. And you can see that you can see in search appearances. So this is kind of the classic stuff that we'd be reporting back to people when we're looking at the websites, but actually it's your LinkedIn profile. And you can look at more analytics in here, such as how many followers that you're gaining, how many post impressions you got, how many profile views, search appearances, newsletter subscribers, how many more? So I don't have 8, but I've had 8 in the last 7 days who have converted. And how many people have viewed my newsletter articles? Well, 700 people in the last 7 days. So not only my profile is getting viewed, but also I'm getting nearly 800 people viewing newsletter traffic, right? So can you see how this is now important data for us to really think about? And we're going to build upon this concept of your social media landing page. So I'd love you to be able to actually think about this. I'm sure I have a few of these pop-ups as we go. So I'd love you to really think about this and actually start to go, well, maybe I should be spending more time optimizing. And we're going to show you how today. Cool. So the other thing that's super important before I start going into the actual what can you do to improve your LinkedIn is LinkedIn produces a report for you. And that report actually gives you a score. And not only do you get analytics, you could also get LinkedIn score on your profile. And they call that your social selling index, your SSI score. Now, I talked about this before, but I think it's super important. If LinkedIn are scoring us, And if they are giving us an actual rating, then I do think it's super important for you to take notice of that and actually take stock of it and maybe even track that over time as you try and improve your profile. Are you improving your SSI score, right? And so this is SSI is your social selling index. It basically gives you what your credibility is. Okay. And so how do you do it? Well, you can get this rank and this score on here, and there is a link that you can actually go and press. Now I'm going to put this link into the chat, and I'd love you to actually just do this now. If you've got your the ability to do so, chuck your link into here. Here we go. And jump onto this, click on it, and go and check out what your SSI score is, right? And you'll be taken to a page that looks, if you just click on it here, if you're logged into LinkedIn, it will just go straight into it. And you'll be taken to a page that looks like this. And it's interesting because it does go up and down. And mine has fluctuated from being into the 80s to now down to 69. And it's based upon different measurements that you've got to look at, but it will rank you in terms of where you are in your industry and where you are in your network as well. So your network and your industry is really interesting, and also tell you what industry you're in. And it will tell you where you are in these four components around your professional brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. And I'll go through that in a little bit more detail. Also, it will tell you where you are out in people in your industry. So the average person in my industry has this SSI score of 35. So that's great. That's why I rate highly, because my average is far higher than people. And the average people in my network have an SSI of 48. So that's also showing me that I'm tracking high in my network. So this is quite interesting for you. So for fun, why don't you put your SSI into the chat now and just see what yours is? Fantastic. So Kara's in there, 47, 68, 7. 7? Someone says 7, surely not. So this is great, right? So you can start to see where you sit within this. Then the next thing is, when you're looking at this, let's go through what these actually mean and how you can start to move these for you. Okay, so you should be looking at where you are with this. So the first thing, and this is just taking LinkedIn's words, and I'm going to kind of shorten it. But the first thing around that, establishing your personal brand, that's all around completing your profile with your customer in mind, and basically becoming a thought leadership and posting content that's related for your audience. Okay, so keep your profile interesting for that target audience. We talk about making sure that you're connected with the right amount of people, and their content would actually be seen. You're being seen by the right people. Okay, so establish your professional brand. Find the right people. So this is about you actually using the search tools and finding people, maybe even using premium tools like Premium or Sales Navigator, but knowing again, so you're again focusing on making sure that you're trying to target the same type of people, and you've got a focal point for that. And a lot of people will be concerned about, well, actually, why do I want to build a network with just the one type of person? And this is super important to think about, because when I talk about this a lot, and this is kind of why we've changed those pods as well, is you have a piece of content and you're trying to establish your brand for this target audience, right? And your profile set up to talk to your target audience. We'll go through the profile in a second. And your content is set up to talk to a specific target audience. You're putting newsletters out for that target audience. But if your network looks like this and there's 1,000 people in there, but only 100 people are this type of target audience, when you post this post, your content will not go to 1,000. It never goes to 1,000. LinkedIn will like reward you with 5% of your audience with the reach. So it's going to test, does this piece of content actually get any engagement? Okay. And so when it tests, we always see a little bit of a spike on a piece of content and then plateaus. And what LinkedIn's doing is it's giving you reach, and then it's waiting for engagement to happen before it gives you more reach, right? And that's why we try and artificially spike your engagement with the pods, so then it will then help to actually get you further, right? So that's why we do the pods. But when you think about your audience, if it's only going to 5% of the 1,000, so that means only 100 of those people are actually your target audience, then the tiny percentage of these people who are only five people who are target audience, if 5% of your whole thing's getting it, that means only five people in your actual target audience are going to see the content. And if they're not happen to be on LinkedIn in that hour that you post it and don't happen to engage, then your content's just going to go blah and have no actual reach. Whereas if you change it and have 100 people who are not your target audience, like your mates from uni or your parents or your kids or whatever, right? Those other colleagues in that old job that you did before you set up your own business, right? If that's the 100 odd people, then and the rest of it's 95% your target audience. That means instead of going out to five people, it's going out to a lot more, right? So it's going out to nearly 500 odd people that are potentially your target audience, or 400 odd people who are potentially your target audience, right? And so that gives you a far better opportunity to get far more reach. Sorry, that's not right. That's 50. Sorry, my maths is not working. So it's 50 people. So it gives you a far better opportunity to get a few engagements on that post, right? And so then that will push. So my um, advice to you is review your actual network and don't be afraid to disconnect with as many people as possible. Because if you can disconnect with those people and get to this place, you will have a far better opportunity for your content to go further. Plus, LinkedIn's telling us that that's what it wants to see by you finding the right people and you're building the right relationships. And what we mean by those relationships part of this as well is that you're also got influencers and other people who are talking to your audience. So again, the pod's going to help with that. So you're building relationships with people who talk about your subject. You are finding the right people. Plus, the engage with insights is that you're engaging with content that is related to your niche. So this is around your personal brand. You're finding the right people. You're engaging with people who are discover and share. You've got to share conversation, and that's probably my biggest work on. I'm not sharing enough stuff that's being conversation worthy of other people's stuff. And the build relationships bit is by finding other decision makers and basically influencers who you're constantly commenting and talking to online, right? So this is what this is all about. So I think that's a really good point in terms of your activity. So now we got the score and we know what it is. We can actually start thinking about this. So we've got 69 as our score. We've had a look at our analytics and we know that we're getting X amount of profile views and impressions. Let's try and make it better. So there's a few important things when we start to look at your profile to be able to improve this. The first thing that's super important is your photo, your name, and your headline. Why is that important? Well, look, it shows up on the right-hand side when people you'll be suggested these people. It's only photo, name, and headline, right? So it's showing up on the right-hand side. You also have when you send a direct message to someone, they show up. When you're sending a connection request to someone, that shows up. It's prime real estate. It's super important. Let me just show you a good example. Here is an inbox, and you've got these three people who are messaging you, and you can see that this person is a full stack developer and this person is senior project manager at AV Group. So they're pretty boring titles, whereas this person helps creators to effectively market their audio content to their email list. Oh, okay. That's something that might be interesting. So his headline has made me interested, right? The same as in the connections, we can see it shows up here, right? So this person here is helping pharma to make in the industry somewhere we'd all love our kids to work in. Really nice headline, right? So there's a formula that we suggest that you use for this. And that formula is who and how you help. And then the second part, why they should listen. So let me show you that in real time. So my who is helping entrepreneurs and my how is sprint to 1 million revenue. So who and how I help. So helping entrepreneurs sprint to 1 million revenue. Nice, short, easy. And I keep it short because I only have a little bit of space here when they give me this shortened version. So I hit people right at the top with helping entrepreneurs sprint to a million revenue, right? And then the why we should listen part is the second part. So for me, I picked two bits that relate to my market that they might find interesting. So that would be 3 times best-selling author and BBC Apprentice finalist, right? So those are the credibility pieces that you can add in. So who and how you help, and then credibility. So when we talk about credibility, we're talking about things like accreditations, certifications, awards, qualifications, anything of note, like years of experience in the industry. You might have things such as big trophy clients that you've worked with that are significant. But think about targeting this to your audience and who you want to work with and write it for them. Okay. So after you've got that piece sorted, then we talk about the banner. Now, the banner image, you want to make like your magazine title. We want to make it the big message, right? It's your front cover that you get. It's your ad that someone's given you and you get to put in. It's the only bit of designed real estate on this new landing page, this profile that we're putting together. So for me, I'm putting it, make it more than your hobby. So that's me challenging my entrepreneurs who want to get to a million revenue to say, hey, if you want to get there, you've got to make it more than your hobby, right? So what challenge or what statement can you make at the top? And then the next part is business growth done for you, ask me how. So that's the call to action section. So just saying, hey, business growth done for you, ask me how, right? So then you're bringing people to call to action. I'm not putting my phone number up there because nobody can click and phone. I'm not putting my website address because this is a non-clickable address. So there's no point, and there's other places to be able to put that. So I'm just putting those in. Okay. So the other, if anybody's looking at how to do this, go Canva, LinkedIn banners template. So you go, I'm going to chuck this into the chat for you. And Flora, if we could just take that link and also loop it around to people when we do the replay, because I think that will help. And there is so many LinkedIn banner templates. You can grab these, you can create it. It costs my favorite number, which is free. And so you can then go and play and create your own lovely banner. Good. Next thing, contact info. I love you all, if you've got your profile up now, to go to your contact info, this little blue button here. And if I go on there and I go, okay, I'd like to contact you, and I click on it, what am I seeing? Because have I got the actual ability to contact you? Am I able to actually contact you? If I'm not, then maybe there's a problem, right? So in your contact information, you can add a number of things such as website addresses, email addresses, phone numbers. If you want people to phone numbers, I don't include my phone number on there. That's only because I want people to email me or go onto one of these links. And we always say to people, put your websites, but also think about adding your calendar booking link, because then people can just book straight in. Do you remember we talk about conversions? In the old website landing page, we'd be constantly talking about conversion optimization. Well, this is a way of you generating leads and appointments by people going onto your profile and actually clicking on it. So please go and sort that out. Good. Now, a few of you might see that I've got $1 Million Sprint up here. So what this is me actually using the pronouns section to be able to add another bit on top, right? So if I go into edit in here, you can go in to name pronouns, and instead of doing he, she, whatever you want to call yourself, I've changed mine. I used to be a cat, but now I'm going to be $1 Million Sprint. And so now it's nice and easy to just put something in there. So if I wanted to, I could put, coach, coach, or, check out my, I don't know, Black Friday offer, whatever it is, right? Whatever you want to, you could do whatever you wanted on there, right? And it just is, it's a little bit of a hack. Don't use my credit card details. But it's a nice little hack to be able to go LastPass having fun with me there. So it's a nice way to be able to add a little bit of extra real estate. You kind of hacking the system there. So it's a bit of fun. So $1 Million Sprint in there. You also would have noticed that I'm not verified. I'm trying my hardest to be verified. If I could be verified, I would be verified. So don't not be verified. My blooming passport code thing doesn't work. So it's a pain in the ass. And I'm sure. And also the thing that annoys me the most about it, if you're a woman and you've got married, and you've changed your name and you decided to not update your passports or whatever it is, now you can't get verified, and LinkedIn's telling you your reach is going lower because you haven't been able to, verify because you're a different name or stuff like that. I think it's a real archaic crap system. And so it's not, I'm not happy with it. But there you go. Anyway, I would verify if I could. Good. So website. So here, if you're looking on the right hand side, you're not got your company up there, and it's not got a logo. It means you haven't got a company page. Hook that up and put education in there. Good. So those are what we would call above the fold. Now, here's the other cool thing you can look at, and I've got a slide for you here. If you want to see what your profile looks like when it's searched for on LinkedIn, then you can actually use a link to be able to see what someone will find when they go and click on your profile. And we've got it here so you can view your public profile, not as you logged in, but actually what it would look like when someone clicks on it. So I'm just going to put this into the chat. Again, Flora, can we make sure we circulate this? There's a few people agreeing with me on the passports things here. And you can actually then click on this. So if you click on this, gang, it will take you to your public facing profile. And so you can see what you would be actually looking at when someone finds you in the search engine. So LinkedIn actively opens this up and gives this out as a, a piece of content. So this is interesting for you to be able to check out, well, what does my profile look publicly? Which is cool because there's things like recommendations and activity, loads going on that you could also check out. So super important to see what your profile looks like from a public facing view. Now, why is that significant? Well, Google is only allowed to index two things within your LinkedIn. One, your profile, to be able to show a page like that looks like a landing page, doesn't it? So going back to my thesis around, this is basically your new landing page. And the second thing is articles. So your articles are publicly findable, not posts, but articles on LinkedIn. So that takes us to two important elements with this landing page concept. One, your about section, and two, your featured section, right? So the about section, we say, right, this is a sales letter because, in fact, I'm going to refresh this because hopefully it will go back to being non-expanded. Because as someone goes down your profile, you have 3 to 4 lines here to be able to convince them to click see more. So then they see your whole about section. So if you're writing this as a CV, saying, oh, this is about me and I started my career in the army and then I did this and then I did that or whatever it is, right? That's not writing to your audience. That is just a CV. You're not looking for a job. You're looking for clients. So write to your clients. So I start off with, are you a business owner looking to scale to $1 million revenue? If so, I can help. With consistent flow of lead generation, you can focus on working with clients while I handle finding new ones, right? So it's that you're talking to them, you're specifically giving them information. And then you click the see more button and bam, you're now into a full sales letter where we can go, hey, this is some social proof. This is a bit about me. This is kind of credibility items. And then this is a call to action. So you can talk a bit about you, but then you want to frame it in the way of how you work with clients. Now I've got a swipe file again that I can help you in terms of writing this with a ChatGPT prompt, which will get to you after this session. But think about that because it shows up complete in your public profile. And I like to mix mine up with a bit of emojis just to help to get the eye forward. It's a really important part. Filling your top skills as well, because that's your keywords that relate to your profile. So you'll get found on LinkedIn for these key phrases. So that helps you in terms of keywords. And then the next section is around featured. Now, this is any good landing page on a website should have a conversion piece, should have some sort of form where people can convert. And LinkedIn allows you to do exactly that with the newsletter. Now, I showed you at the start today around why a newsletter is important. And because you can see how many views you get, and it's an independent asset that grows subscribers. So your profile is growing connections, but your newsletters grow subscribers independently. And also it's findable on Google, the newsletters, because they're articles. And also it can be pinned to your feature section here, and you can get a button where someone can do a one-click subscribe. Look at this, one-click subscribe. Now, this is important because that's your conversion. And so if I open this link into here, this is lead generation in a landing page type methodology. Because if I go on to my newsletter here, it's my Links for Breakfast newsletter. Look, 2,200 subscribers. If I click on those, I can see who they are. And not only that, I can actually then go and check them out and go, okay, great. So this person looks like someone who might be interesting. I can go onto her profile and I can go, okay, so she looks like someone who could be someone that would be a potential client. So I can then go press connect and I can add a note. And because she made the first move, I can say, hi, and I'll just show you this longhand. Great. Thank you subscribing to my newsletter. How are things in this crazy world? Now, the reason why I'm showing you this long form is I'm saying thanks. So I'm telling her she made the first move to subscribe to my newsletter, and I do it very quickly after they subscribe because it ranks those subscribers with the most recent at the top. So we're always doing it each day. So it's like the conversation started. She just didn't connect with me. That's fine. And so I'm going to proactively connect and I'm going to see what it was that she was interested in. And I'm going to say to her, how are things in this crazy world? The reason why I say the second part is if I say how things in this crazy world, normally people go, oh, yeah, it's crazy. But, actually, it's not so bad because I'm doing this, this, and this. The conversation instantly flows into business. We don't know why. It's just kind of natural. People open up, have a laugh about it, but then open a bit about themselves. So it's a really nice tool to get the conversation starting and off to the right foot, which is a business foot, because I don't necessarily need to be having like a, oh yeah, lovely weekend type conversation, right? So that's what we want to do. So I'm going to press that send and now bam, the lead's being generated. Now here's the cool thing. Once we're generating those leads and having those conversations, everything that I'm doing, oh crikey, everything's popping up today, isn't it? So I'm trying to get people from awareness to consider to convert to deliver. That's the whole point of this. So I'm building connection with people and connecting with them and then moving them through to this consideration, which is a newsletter, and they're subscribing to this newsletter, right? So I'm connecting with people, they're seeing me or finding my profile, search appearances, they're looking at my newsletter reading, they then subscribe. I then can then go and connect, message, and then I can then say, hey, would you like to have a virtual coffee? Would you like to have a chat? Or would you like to come to, if they subscribe to my newsletter, would you like to come to my, weekly moment, my LinkedIn for breakfast like this? They come to LinkedIn for breakfast. Then we go and open up and say, hey, let's have a virtual coffee and have a chat, right? So the whole point of this is you're bringing people into this awareness. They go to consider, they consider you, and then you move them on to some sort of convert stage, which is a one-to-one. And then from there, you put them into deliver, which is obviously get to then sell to them, right? Or get to deliver for them. So this newsletter piece is transitioning them from the awareness to then into a conversation with you. And that's why that's really important. See, look, it keeps on asking me to verify. I can't verify. So there we go. Gang, there is so much on here. What I want to do is I'm just checking in with you all, okay? So I've got a couple of things, a couple of bonuses I'm going to just tell you about in a second. One of which I can go and do this audit for you on your profile. And the second one is a swipe file where I can actually put a list of all the things that I've been talking about stats wise, and you can actually track your own stats. So in two minutes, I'm just going to go and loop you on those. So I just want to finish off these couple of extra bits here because I think they're important. The featured post that you can add in here, that newsletter is super important, but also add other articles into here, add content, get them a flavor for it. You can add up to 5. You can add some social media posts in there. So that's really important. And the other thing is make sure your content has a rhythm to it. Actually put together a bit of a content strategy. And if you, we can go through what your content strategy would be, or one of our profile audits if you're interested in booking one of those, because we can look at how that could be. They're totally free, by the way, so don't worry, there's no sales pitch about to happen. So then final couple of bits, your experience. Just remember, you can add more content to your experience, and you can add things like images and even videos that link out to YouTube videos and stuff from your profile, right? So you can see here, this is my experience, and I'm adding in video links within my experience, and I can do it for other bits of my experience as well. So that's super important. And just one final thing that I'd ask you to do, please get your recommendations up. They're so easy to be able to get. You just simply click on this button here. You go ask for a recommendation. You go find someone, oh, hello. You just type their name in here. So let's go see Chris. Are you? Yes, perfect. There you go, Chris. It's only because you're on the top of my banner. There we go. So you just go find Chris, and I can go say relationship, and we say that we were both in the same group, and that group was LinkedIn Breakfast. I say, hey, would you write me a recommendation of LinkedIn for breakfast? There you go. And then I press send. That's simple, isn't it? So, Chris, I can see you there. There's lots of people on this call, but you just happen to be at the top of mine. So, so Chris, if you do have a second, then that'd be lovely. But it's not the point being here, gang, and I'll show you this. You can click on this and show all pending. It doesn't automatically put people's reviews on your profile, but we systematically send these out. We do a few of these a week, and we've got a number of these ones that are pending still. They haven't written recommendations, that there's tons of people who have not recommended me. I don't care. Even Flora, who works with me, hasn't recommended me. So, Flora, could you at least give me a recommendation? But the whole point is that that's fine. I don't mind, because for every 5 I send, I might get one back that says yes. But that has allowed me to have over 40, 45 odd recommendations, which really helps my credibility. And again, just before I go on to these bonuses now, look at this public profile. Yes, we got our sales letter, the about section. We got our articles, which we talked about there, your newsletters, your activity. And then we go down, and just coming down in a second, look, recommendations received. And they are all like this. Bam, 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 right? And there's 39 more. So can you see it's pretty prime place on your public profile to be seen. And all of these keywords and stuff are all getting found as being associated with you, because of course, Google is indexing that and seeing that. So again, 2 things. The first thing is I'm going to open up a diary, and we've created a number. This is a new diary, so please excuse me if it's hopefully it doesn't have any bugs in it. But we've opened up a number of slots this week because we're doing this session specifically. And if I can just get this to refresh, this is the link to the diary. And we have got the ability for you to jump in. So I'm just going to put that into the chat, and you can book in. Hopefully this refreshes in a second. Perfect. You can book into one of these slots, and we've opened up some this afternoon, Thursday, Friday. We've opened up a ton of these slots because they always get fully booked. So we've worked really hard for me and my team to open up these availability slots for you guys to have one-to-one reviews of your profile. We're going to go through your banner. We're going to go through your experience. We're going to help you with that sales letter. We're going to talk about that content strategy. We're going to help you with that newsletter. It's one-to-one time, and it's totally free. Absolutely. There is no catch. It's a free session. We want to get your profile sorted. It's part of our place to be able to get this the best place on earth for LinkedIn to go. And look, if you are curious at the end, we're more than happy to be able to tell you what my company $1 Million Sprint does in terms of we can do all of this stuff for you. But this is, this is here for you. This is a free opportunity to get expert advice on your LinkedIn profile. So do jump onto those and book in, and keep an eye out. Look at your junk, by the way, because we're just switching across. If anybody knows the troubles of trying to switch over to Go High Level from Calendly, if anybody understands that, there's just a few little teething problems. So this is a new week with a new calendar. So please just look out for these and just make sure that you document these in, and we'll also send you an email. No, Jan, this is go high level. And Calendly's this, but anyway, I don't need to show you comparisons. Go high level, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I've got here for you is I just created a really simple tracking spreadsheet of all the things we talked about today. So there's a nice little sheet in here where we've got the months and the weeks. So weeks down here. So this is for this year, but obviously we'll update this and do another one for another week. And then we've got the actual things that we discussed today that you could track, right? So your SSI score, your number of connections, your profile views, your post impressions, your search appearances, your newsletter subscribers, and your newsletter views, right? So if I share this in the chat, and again, Flora, if we can get this round to people with the replay, guys, a lot today, eh? I love sharing stuff. So I would love it. Look, I know that many of you will go, statistics, can't be dealing with that. But there'll be a few out there who are wired in, this probably similar way to me, which quite likes looking at numbers and going up, and that's fine. Not everybody's there, but if you wanted to, here's the thing, right? So what's the date today? So the 23rd, so 23rd of September. Oh no, so October, what we're talking about. So it started on the week of the 31st, right? So for me, my SSI score was 69, so I'd plug it in like that, right? My connections, I'd be able to go onto my profile, I'd be able to view how many connections I got. I put those connections in. I'm not sure how many I got, but say 15,000. And then I put my profile views. So you basically are going simply just into this piece. You just do it, say on a Monday each week. You can go into here and go, right, I had this many profile views. So 1,142, great. So 1,142. You then go to the next piece, you'd be able to plug the other in, and you can just plug this data in. And over time, you can see it move. And you can then start to see what your monthly views are, things like newsletter subscribers, etc. You can just start to see it all creeping up. And the reason why we do this is what gets measured gets improved. So if you like using this type of model and you like to actually think about, well, what should I be tracking? Your newsletter subscribers and your newsletter views is going to show you I created something new, like a newsletter, and bam, now I have the ability to sign up. And if anybody doesn't know how to create a newsletter, again, Flora, can we add the newsletter training to the email that goes out? So we've got a whole training on how to set up a newsletter for you guys. So by having this, you'll see my search appearances, my impressions of my post, my subscribers to my newsletter, my views of my newsletter. And over time, you can then start to improve this. And that will then give you a little bit of return on investment tracking for your efforts on LinkedIn. And of course, hopefully, it's also generating many nice sales for you. Cool. So that's where we are. I hope that's been of assistance. What I'd like to do is to open up to conversations and questions or even shares from today. There's a lot of information, but oh, the spreadsheet view only. Sorry, I'm going to change this. Oh no, sorry. So yes, it is view only. Let me just remind you, or just to let you all know, when you do this, you've got to make your own copy, because if we all do it using the same spreadsheet, then it's going to look very messy. So when you go onto spreadsheet, you've got to go file and make a copy. There you go at the top, make a copy, and then save your own copy of it. So you've got your copy. Otherwise, we're all going to be editing the same spreadsheet. So file, make a copy. Cool. And I can just see, I just got a DM to reshare this booking link. So thank you for all who have already booked into this. Here's the booking link again in the chat. There we go. Great. So Alan said, any specific advice on profile picture? Notice that mine isn't the classic head shot. So yes, when you think about profile picture, think about how does it represent you and what do you want to put out there, right? So for me, I like being more relaxed, more of a picture of someone that's enjoying themselves and is not afraid to kind of show that. I wouldn't necessarily have me falling out of a nightclub drunk on holiday, or me in my bikini, which might happen. So we wouldn't want to do that. But something that's kind of relaxed, that just reflects me because that's who I want to do. Now, if I was selling into corporate, which I don't, I probably would go for a little bit more of a corporate headshot, maybe something a little bit more like this one top right for me, which can still be quite fun and what have you, but not so boaty. So that's my impression. I just think you've got to think about not necessarily, I think it's a blend of who you're trying to sell to and how you want to feel you come across. And so if you're selling into corporate, then you really do need to think more corporatey because that's what they would expect. And they have to put their name to you when they put you into the business, right? So there is that in there. When you're selling into small business or to consumer, then you can be a little bit more consumer and small businessy because ultimately, people want to grow businesses so they can, enjoy life and have fun. And so I just want to portray the concept that yes, you definitely can grow a business and also enjoy life and have fun. That's the mantra, right? So that would be the concept for that. Um, Other thoughts, gang? Questions from you? Maybe if anybody could mute and ask a question or unmute and ask a question, that'd be useful. Yes, Rachel, go for it.
Hi, Richard. Thanks for a great session. Just have a question about if you're a member of a special group, for example, I'm a member of several HR groups, does the LinkedIn algorithm work in the same way that you need to interact with your post and then the reach increases, or it doesn't work the same way with groups?
So groups are great tactics. Okay. So a lot of problems with groups that they do have a reputation for being dead, but I've got clients in here that do amazingly well through marketing into groups. So you do need to look after those posts within groups. You need to be a good group member, and you also need to make sure that you don't try and over spam a group and the content you put into the group is reflective for that group. So, for example, if you go into a group and then try and share your event in the group, well, the group's probably just going to be like, no, you're trying to be self-promotional. Whereas if you go into the group and you share a poll, then actually that's kind of interacting and getting the conversation going. So we call it the Trojan horse tactic. And so what you want to do is think about your post for groups as a Trojan horse. What is that? It's an offering. The Trojan horse was an offering to Troy to say, hey, look, this is a present to you. So you put a poll in or like a bit of a nice article or a funny post or whatever with no call to action on it, no kind of try to get someone onto something else. But of course, when people do comment and like on it and interact, then they're going to be clicking on your profile link. And of course, then they're going to see your profile. You optimize it with the stuff we do today, and then bam, they're on your subscriber list for your newsletter, right? So your kind of sinister Greeks that sit within the Trojan horse is basically trying to siphon that audience. And when people do comment back on the comments, get the interaction going, but this is the other point, don't share the post. Don't post on your profile and just share it to the group. Although LinkedIn wants you to do that, take exactly the same post and post it as a fresh post on its own right in the group, because that will have the most amount of engagement. And also it will feel like unique content for that group. And then you look after it. And we actually have a system of getting our clients to list out 10 to 15 groups that they're targeting. And then one week they will do polls to half of them. And then they'll do like memes or articles to the second half. And then the following week they'll switch around and do polls to the other ones and memes to the other ones. So, and then they're just working those 15. And if one of those 15 isn't interactive and it's a bit dead, they'll swap one out with another one. So it's about having like a power 10 or power 15 groups that you're really targeting that hold your audience in.
Thank you.
No drama. No worries. I like these little question stuff. Do you feel that a session maybe that was just like a pure kind of ask me anything session would be of benefit to people? Do we think if you do stick it in the chat, there's a few people nodding and giving thumbs up. Okay, great. I just wondered if we could just go completely off piece for a session and do 45 minutes of kind of marketing madness. Okay, good. Maybe we'll do that next week. Should we do that next week? Should we have a little play on that next week? So next Wednesday we're going to do Ask Me Anything You're Brave. Oh, bless you, Dawn. Dawn, why did we not speak to each other yesterday? Come on. You have to be on your chat.
I was down the rabbit hole, Rich.
Okay.
I've got
Okay.
3 books coming out in the next couple of months, and
No worries.
yeah.
When you're out there rabbit hole, we'll have a chat. No
Yes, and
problem.
enjoy your holiday.
Bless
I
you.
know
Thank you.
you're heading
I'm off
off.
to
So
Spain this afternoon, gang. That's all right, isn't it?
yeah.
Great. Um, John, over to you, mate.
Yeah, Richard, nice to see everybody again.
Good to see you.
I've got a question on impressions. Are impressions vanity only? And an example is I wrote a piece on 7 thought-provoking ways to increase sales that got 60 odd comments, likes, shares. And I wrote another poll on what colour sauce do you want on your sausages, and it got like 12,000. So are impressions just vanity metrics? If not, what do you do?
Well, they're not vanity metrics at all. Obviously, you can create content that's going to get impressions, like what sauce do you want on your sausages. And so what we would say, and actually, I don't mind that type of tactic because when we're kind of giving people advice, we actually say on Mondays create an engagement creator. Because if you can spike the algorithm on Mondays, because remember, an impression is basically your content being shown to someone. So you have to get an impression to be able to receive a like, a comment, whatever it is. So it's never vanity. It's a means to an end. Now, if you are not getting, well, you probably did get the interaction based upon those interactions because people were voting, right? So that's great. The problem was the subject was not very business related. So if we're thinking about your week, what we say on a Monday, do an engagement creator, like a poll, because if you can spike the impressions, you can spike the algorithm, get the reach. That means loads and loads and loads of people are going to be looking at your profile. They're going to be interacting with your content. And so, like an alley-oop in basketball, where someone tees it up and then the next person slams it down, your engagement creator tees up the engagement. And then the Tuesday post, we call it Promo Tuesday. So, what you do on Tuesday is create a promotional post that basically consumes all of this kind of great, momentum and then gives this a leg up. So your post is going to be most likely being shown to all of these people who have engaged on this post. And if it is good, that's great. But this post can have a call to action that can then take someone onto whatever the next stage is. So think about that impression and that engagement creator as like an alley-oop. So tease it up and then next one slam it down. But remembering pure promotional post, even with all this engagement, if you just go buy my stuff, it still won't work. So the promo Tuesday still has to be wrapped up into something of value to your audience again. So that's what I'd say. And also the final thing, John, if it is business related, then you can DM all of these lovely people that did engage on this poll and then direct them towards the thing that you're promoting as well. So, and also connect with them. So all of that kind of falls in. Right. That's us, I think, because I've got to jump onto my next call at 10 o'clock. I could chat all day, as you can probably tell. So final shout going, because I think we've taken a number of these bookings already. So thank you so much. It's pure value. It's in the chat now. Please do jump onto those because if you get the opportunity to have your profile reviewed and to talk to one of me or the team, it's a great way for us to know more about your business and be able to connect maybe with you with some other people as well. Big love, guys. See you next Wednesday and enjoy. Hola, or I'm gonna say au revoir because
Ciao, ciao.
there you go.
They say
Thank
that
you,
in
John.
Spain. Yeah.
Okay. Ciao. No, I'm still in the wrong place, aren't I? Right. Cheers,
Buenos
gang.
dias.